let's kick off. So I use the word mastering the virtual meeting, dominating the virtual meeting. We are still in a virtual environment, and that's something that we have to embrace. And I believe that it is going to be here to stay. There will be in-person meetings again, absolutely. But we have to embrace the virtual meeting. So let's get good at it and let's get excited about it. And that's the key here. So right away, let's play to win. That's my message to you. And we're going to go over the game rules of these virtual meetings. You know me, I come from sports, come from a sports background, but I love business, I love coaching, and I love development. So we're going to play to win today. I'm going to give you some tools, some tactical strategies, some things that you could do to upgrade your space, your lighting, and everything in between. So, reminder, you know, I did write the book, Habits of a Champion, so I want to remind you before we get started that you are a champion. You may not see yourself like that in every moment, but in this moment, I want you to see yourself as a champion, and I want you to think about how that plays into everything going forward. You seeing yourself as a champion, what are you going to be able to do in terms of your presenting skills? If you see yourself a certain way, that is going to come through the screen. People are going to feel your juice. They're going to feel your excitement, and they're going to feel your enthusiasm. And I want to put a little star next to that because I want people to feel the enthusiasm, and I want them to feel the juice and the fire and the passion that you have. But I want you to be real at the same time because there's nothing worse than false enthusiasm. So for me, this is the way I am. I'm energized. If you meet me in person, I'm the same way as I am on the other side of the screen. And I want you to be the same way because there's nothing worse than somebody that is inauthentic and not real. So let's advance. Reminder, embrace who you are fully. So you got to embrace who you are fully. And in doing so, realize this, you may not be for everybody. So we can't constantly be adapting to every single person that we come across, or something will happen to us. And that something will be, we will forget who we are. And if we forget who we are, there's one thing that we can't do, and that's embrace who we are fully. So this is something I always talk about. You bring the energy to the room. How many times do we walk into rooms and say, it's dead in here, and it brings us down? And then there's those conferences that we used to attend, or those meetings that we get invited to, or those mastermind groups that we're a part of. And man, we feel amazing. And we say, why can't I feel like this all the time? And you can, but it's a choice that you make. And the choice too that you can make is whatever room that you go into, you bring the energy. And I want to share a story. About a month and a half ago, I did a presentation to a leadership group down here in the state of Florida in Palm Beach. And I walked into the room and I saw some folks that were a bit older, a little bit stuffy. And as I was walking into the room, I said, what am I going to do here? Am I going to do what I always do and get people fired up and get them excited? What if they don't adapt to that? What if they don't take to that? And I said, stop it. Stop it. You bring the energy to the room. And I'll tell you this, midway through that meeting, when I had everybody standing up and saying, I am a champion, I am a champion, I am a champion, all those people that I thought were old and stuffy were the first ones up. And they were yelling louder than everybody. So let's not make assumptions. Let's show up fully authentic with who we are and everything that we have. And always remember that we bring the energy to the room. And now we may not be in rooms, but we do have the ability to bring the energy to the presentation. Like I'm speaking right now, I know some of you that are on the line, and that's great, and thank you for being here, but I can't see you. But I got to bring it anyway and say, Coach, you're going to bring it for these people. You're going to give them something to take home today, and you're going to bring the fire for them because that's what you promised. And you could do the same thing. So get comfortable talking into your camera and get comfortable speaking to your camera right now. So reminder again, another reminder, perception is reality. Always be and do your best. So just again, a little insight into my world. I always spend time preparing for everything that I do. And in my preparation, that gives me the comfort to say at the end of anything that I do, Coach, did you do your best? I did my best. I did my best. And that's all I can do. That's all you can do. That's all we could do. So for those of you that are in sales, we want everyone to buy our product, but not everybody's going to buy our product. That's not always a reflection on you. If you did your best, that's all you can do. You did your best, but you better make sure you did your best. You did your research, you did your preparation, and you showed up excited and enthusiastic. That is doing your best. Reminder, always keep your main objective front and center. So today, we're talking about dominating in a virtual environment. Dominating in a virtual environment. Dominating our presentations that are in a virtual environment. That is the centralized theme and objective at the front and center of this workshop. So when you leave today, 20 minutes from now, I want you to ask yourself this question: am I more effective at presenting? Do I have tools and skills that will make me a more effective communicator in a visual and digital environment? That's what I want the takeaway to be. So whenever we present, we have to have a centralized theme, because too many times when you're on a presentation, you'll hear rambling all over the place. One story carries into the next thing and the next thing, and we forget, or the audience forgets, what it is that we're trying to get across to them. So today, we want to make you better communicators in a digital and virtual environment. We want you to dominate that environment. So we do that by choosing one main objective and use 3 to 5 bullet points or talking points to validate that objective. So we have a centralized theme, and boom, 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 boom. But all of those boom, boom, booms and all of those bullet points and talking points, they all come back to the centralized theme to validate the centralized theme. Or for those of you that are, again, in sales, I see some of my sales folks here, all about coming back to the problem in which we solve, or how our solution can solve that problem. Now, I did see Sherry Griffin on here, and she's going to say, Coach, but you have to keep it personal. You got to engage with people. You got to court them and dance with them. And that is true. But we want to make sure that we're always staying on point, and we also want to let our personality shine. So I'm not saying not to be real with people, but I'm saying let's stay focused on a centralized theme, and then with that, we'll keep our main objective, and we'll stay glued. And then when we exit the presentation portion of what it is that we're doing, then we can, again, build rapport after and or before. So let's keep moving. Reminder, you are a problem solver. Understand their problem and be the solution to their problem. So when we're presenting in a virtual environment or any environment, we have to say, you have an issue, right? And I'm here to help you solve your issue. So my product, my solution, my presentation is designed to help you solve your problem or issue or something that you just want to get better at. So today we all want to get better at digital presenting or virtual presenting. So that's the centralized theme again. That's what we want to get better at. And I'm going to give you the solutions to do that coming up in a second. So the next thing is this. I told you from the beginning, I want to do 30 minutes today. I want to get you in and I want to get you out. We're not going to ramble. We're not going to stretch out and work the edges too much. We're going to go right into things. We're going to go right into the meat, and we're going to get you excited. So let's start going. So 7 checkpoints to a great virtual meeting so we can dominate that meeting. And I'm using certain language here, dominate, 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 so you can really get excited about what's to come. So let's go through this. They're 7 points because I have 0, but it goes to 6. So point 0 is prep your mindset. That's before everything. Then we have our setup. Then we have our positioning. Then we have our posturing, our delivery, our speech, and most importantly, fatigue prevention. So let's talk about prepping our mindset. Before we do anything, we have to have our mindset ready to go. So before we start our virtual meeting, our virtual presentation, we have to prep our mindset, because we got to get people we have to be excited for what we do, so those people can understand what it is that we're so excited about. And we do that by, number one, turn off your phone. We've all been in meetings lately where somebody's presenting and the phone goes off, and instantly it takes the focus to the phone. It takes not just the presenter's focus to the phone, but it also takes the audience away from what the presenter's message is. And we don't want that. So turn off your phone, and I always say flip it, put it face down. So therefore you don't see it light up, or when a message, because people are watching your eyes. Next, write down your main objective. So my main objective today, and I'm going to say for the third time, is to get us positioned to dominate the virtual landscape of meetings and presenting. So we write that down, keep it right in front of us, remind ourselves of what our desired outcome is. So today, my desired outcome is for all of you to leave with more tools to be better in a virtual environment. And then what I like to do, this is something that I put in there, 404 breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out with my eyes closed. And I'm in my mind before a meeting thinking about how my audience is going to respond and how I want them to respond. So my energy and my words and everything is aligned to that. Okay, so I'm visualizing dominance. I'm visualizing a great message coming through and it being received by all of you. And next, 3 to 5 claps for a state change. Let's get excited about what it is we're going to do. So before your sales calls, before your meetings, before whatever it is you're going to do, this prepping of the mind, this takes place between you and you. It's the same thing athletes would do before a game. It's a process to get yourself and your mindset strengthened and in an offensive position to exude dominance. And dominance is a good thing. It's not saying I'm here to dominate you, but I'm here to dominate the content, and I'm here to dominate it and then push it through with that energy surge. So let's prep our mindset. Next, and I'm going to record this and I'm going to send it to all of you that have registered today so you can see some of the specifics. But you'll see I have this mic set up here. I have this set up because it allows for a more clear presentation. This mic is set up to eliminate a lot of background sound. And this, you'll see, this is the second one. This is the professional microphone setup, a Shure SM7B. I have a Focusrite Scarlett, which is what this microphone is plugged into. I have an arm that holds the microphone. And then I have the cable, which is the XLR male to female 6-inch microphone cable. Now, you don't have to go this crazy. This is a high-end setup that I use because I also do a podcast and a show, and I do a lot of presenting. But something for under $100 is a Snowball. It's a USB. It plugs right into your laptop and or your desktop. And that is a very simple microphone, but it eliminates, these mics will help eliminate a lot of the external noise. So let's say somebody walks into the room in your family, or your dog's walking across the floor and making some noise. These mics won't pick it up like your computer will, okay? So there's that. Next, you ever see a camera that's very clear versus one that has a little bit of a haze? We want to use an HD camera. Simple, right on top of our desktop or right on top of our laptop. And we're going to use, I use a Logitech C920 HD Pro webcam. Very clean. And you can see the difference when you use just the setup that your computer or laptop comes with versus the external USB HD most importantly, webcam. Next, personalized backdrop or setting, right? So many out there today, we've seen them. This is something that distracts a lot of people. There's some companies that say, hey, we want virtual backdrops. And if that's the way your company operates, well, then you have to follow suit. But there's nothing worse than being in a meeting and watching somebody cutting through a backdrop as they use their hands or as they move, because it's distracting. The reason we're talking about all of this today is because we want people to focus 100% on the message. That's what we want. We want the message to dominate, not everything else. So you see, for me, I have just this flag behind me. I don't have shelves with a lot of stuff on it. I may suggest that if you have one or two things that are personal to you, that may be a great conversation starter. That works well when you're having an intro meeting, but when you're presenting, work to keep your background as clear as possible, simple, so you become the focal point. Next, lighting. A newer ring light. It's, again, under $100. You could do a nice setup in your office for 150 to 200 bucks, and it's worth the investment in terms of you get a nice light, nice backdrop, and a USB microphone, and you're all set. Now, for me, you also see I stand up. I like to stand up. I like to move. So I use a standing desk, 250 bucks on Amazon. Nice standing desk. It's easy to put together, and it's got plenty of space. So when I want to sit, I can sit. When I want to stand and move around and keep my back in alignment, I can do that. So our setup is key, because our setup puts us in a position for success. When we got our mindset right, we have our setup right, we're moving. Now we talk about positioning. So computer screen, right? Head on with camera in line with the top of the nose. So my camera is right here, even with the top of my nose. It's not coming down on me, and it's not coming up at me. You ever sit on a Zoom call where you're literally looking up at somebody's nostrils? You're just like looking right up at their face. You're looking up in their nostrils, and that becomes the centerpiece of the dialogue. That's, again, taking away from the message. As it relates to the camera in terms of spacing, the camera 2 to 3 feet from your face. Don't let the camera come right on your face, and don't keep it too far away. 2 to 3 feet from your face. The microphones, whether it's the high-end mic that I suggested or the snowball mic that I also suggested, 6 to 12 inches away from your mouth, right? We want the sound to go right into the mic. If it's too far away, you're gonna take on too much external sound, and it's gonna start to bounce. So again, we wanna keep our message clear. Next, with your light, at least 4 feet away from your face. We don't want reflection, and we don't want shine coming off of your face. So if the light is on you and it's too close to you, it's gonna make you shine, and you're gonna look like somebody painted you like a mime with white. Okay, we don't want that. We want it about anywhere between 4 and 6 feet away from you, truly. Keep your light, and that'll give some nice ambiance light, a little bit of accentuation on your face, but not to the point where you look like a New York City mime, okay? So remember this. How you speak, how you look, it all matters. Everything is magnified on Zoom. Everything is magnified in a digital environment, because people are literally just staring at you. So make sure that you're in a good position, and all of this is working in your favor. We want to stack the deck in our favor. So next, let's talk about posturing. What is posturing? Posturing is how we simply position ourselves around our setup. So posturing, tall, upright, speak to the camera, not to the screen. So our camera is going to be above our screen. So when we look into our camera, our eyes are looking right at the person that we are speaking to, or the persons that we are speaking to. But if our camera is at the top of our screen and we're looking at the middle of our screen, we are no longer making eye contact with the people that we speak with. So we want to make sure that we're staring right at that camera. And if we have to glance down, you'll see me glance down at the presentation, but I come back to the camera. That's very, very important. So posturing, tall, upright, speak to the camera, not to the screen, okay? But we're gonna glance at the screen because we wanna see what's going on and how our person on the other end or persons on the other end are responding, but get back to speaking to the top of the screen. Next, a standing desk will make an upright posture easier. So let's talk about posture for a minute. When somebody's folded over, rounded shoulders, head forward, is that a power posture or a weak posture? It's a weak posture. we want to, again, position ourselves for success. Stand up tall, stand in a bold, strong position, or sit up in a bold, strong position, and you're going to put yourself in a good position of power, of dominance, okay? If you are somebody that doesn't have a standing desk and you have a seated desk, make sure your chair allows for adjustment to the correct height. So if you don't want to invest in a stand-up desk, make sure that you have a chair that can go up and down and put you in a good position where your spine could be neutral, your head could be neutral, and the camera height still sits at the top of your nose, okay? So you also may, for those of you that don't have a desktop and you do work off of a laptop, see if you can buy a stand for your laptop to prop it up so it's even with your face, okay? And I want to share this with you because some people may not realize it, but you'll realize it today as you see other people on Zoom. Remember, your head naturally moves closer to the light, so you can give yourself a few extra inches. So you may see people's head creep towards the screen during presentations. Remind yourself that nobody wants to be that up close mirror and see your face that close. So back it up just a little bit and position your setup to where it facilitates that, okay? Say less, but leave a large impact. So we want to make sure that we're not just pounding points that are not relative to our main objective. So we want to say less, but say more around our main objective, but say less overall, right? And that'll leave a big impact. Like I want you to leave today and say, hey, positioning, setup, mindset prep, positioning, mindset, positioning, and we got that. And now we move into delivery. Speak to the camera, not the screen. Like I said, speak with conviction and authority. Remember, nobody knows your topic better than you. When I first started speaking 20 years ago, I had to give a talk in Houston, Texas for the first time. And I was a nervous wreck. I had never flown on a plane before to go give a speech and a presentation. And this gentleman that in baseball that I was working with said, hey, Dayton, what are you so worked up about? I said, it's my first time on the road. I never gave a speech before like this. And he said, hey, let me ask you something. Who knows your material better than you? And I said, nobody, it's my material. And he just stepped back and smiled. And at that moment, everything changed for me because remember, as long as we know our material, we become the expert in our material. And it's our job to share our expertise with conviction and authority so people could take our material and apply it to better their company, to better themselves, to better their lives and family and those around them. So speak with conviction and authority. It shows that you know what you're talking about. And people feel that, and they should, because if you know your material, you know your material. Next, use hand gestures that match the language and tone you are using. So for those of you that are Italian, this comes very easy for you because you're brought up using your hands. For those of you that aren't, you don't want to be using your hands like this, and your hands are speeding up your tempo. You want to use your hands to match what it is that you're saying without going crazy, okay? So be aware of your tempo. Use a mix of slow and faster cadences while delivering your message. Do not keep the same pace throughout the talk. So if I were to just keep talking like this about this the whole time, you'd say, hey, coach, after I become white noise to you. So we have to slow down. We have to take pauses. We have to speed up. And then we have to elevate our tone at times and grab people. So I wrote that next, right? Be aware of your tempo. Do not keep the same pace throughout the talk. Use tone elevations to grab attention back, okay? Followed by a return to your normal voice, tone, and pace. You can't forget, people lose focus today. We're in an Instagram world. We're in a LinkedIn world. We're scrolling. We see this. We're always moving to the next thing. So we got to grab people's attention at times. And don't be afraid to do it. Grab them. Be repetitive again around the central point and theme. Do you see What I'm being repetitive about, I'm strategically repeating myself in this presentation. So one of the main themes that I want you to take away today is be repetitive around a central point and theme. It's not about many concepts, thoughts, or themes. It's about staying as singular as possible. So when you deliver your message, remember, stay as singular as possible around a centralized objective with 3 to 5 points wrapped around that objective that validate the objective and get people to buy in more to that objective. Say less, but leave a big impact. So now we're going to talk about speech a little bit more. Speak slow, give pauses between points and concepts to allow the other person or persons a chance to receive your information. Again, if you just keep coming at people and throwing it at them and throwing it down their throat, it's too much. It's too much for people today. Keep it simple. Simple, 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 simple. Do not get too complicated. Even if you're selling something that's complicated, simplify it. Realize that the person or persons that you are speaking to are not experts in your subject. So get to the point. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. Realize that people have a lot going on today and that you are not their main priority typically. They're giving you some of their time. Don't take advantage of it. Get to the point and do it in a way that's elegant, that's professional, that's relatable, it's real. And they leave that and say, you know what, this was enjoyable. I took something from this, and I really appreciate you spending time with me and us, and I'm able to take your information and put it into play, okay? So next, we want to be natural but speak clearly. That's something that we want to do, okay? Be natural but speak clearly. Like I said, if they see you on a virtual or they see you in person, there has to be similarity. It has to be the same person, okay? Ask questions for your audience to ponder, think about, write down, right? So if I were to ask you right now, based on what I'm telling you in this workshop, what's the most important thing that you're taking from this right now? Up to this point, what's the most important thing that you've taken from this? Write that down. So I'm inviting you to do something. I'm inviting you to take action. Sometimes we just speak and speak and speak, but we're not giving anything for them to take either. Outside of the information, we want to engage them. So we do that by asking questions. Rather than thinking about just giving a talk, think of this as an engagement. Your job is to engage the audience by making things as interactive as possible, by giving things to think about, talk about, write down, and work on. Remember, people are giving you their time. Give them your all and show your passion. Be excited about what you do. Be excited about what you're selling. Be excited about the opportunity that you have, okay? We may have a great message, but if we are too tired to deliver it, everyone will see that. And that segues right into this, fatigue prevention. I have a 30 plus 15 formula. Like I have a 12 o'clock interview that I have to do today, okay? So I'm given 30 minutes and then I have 30 minutes. I figured I'm going to have 15 minutes because we're going to do a little Q&A here. But give yourself 15 minutes of rest per 30 minutes of meeting. So if you're going to have a 30-minute meeting, take a 15-minute scheduled break and then get back at it. But these repetitive meetings and repetitive screen time, it will wear you out over time. I guarantee it. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to feel contracted and just, like you're burning up a little bit because fatigue is real. No more than 3 to 5 high impact meetings per day. And by high impact, I mean where you have to show up and give it your all. If somebody else has to show up and give it their all and you're just a listener, you may also want to ask, is it okay if I turn my screen off? And the right thing to do is ask. And that's something else I wanted to bring up that I should have brought up in one of the previous modules. If you are going to give a presentation and you want folks to keep their screens on, ask them to do that. More and more people today are turning their screens off. And that loses some connection. So make sure you ask them, hey, would you mind keeping your screen on so we can connect a bit deeper? And By doing that, you've invited them to something. Or naturally, people will take dominance over the meeting and do whatever they want. I'll just turn the screen off, no problem. So no more than 3 to 5 high impact meetings per day. Keep your meetings to 30 minutes as possible, to 30 minutes when possible. Sometimes you're going to run over, sometimes you won't, but keep them short and sweet. No meetings within 3 hours before bed, as this will lead to a state of excitability and make deep rest and REM sleep more difficult. We want to make sure that when we turn off for the day and we sign out, we're done. Get your eyes off the screens and get ready for bed and get ready for tomorrow. Less is more. Spread things out over the week rather than cram everything into one day. So don't try to do too much screen time in one day or too many high impact meetings in one day, or you will pay for it. It'll wear you down and you'll say, I don't know why I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so stressed. I don't know why I feel angst. But virtual meetings are more taxing than they appear. And we have to realize that. So when scheduled and performed appropriately, virtual meetings can be very, very effective. They've helped a lot of people. I know folks in private equity that have done, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 deals and beyond during this time. So they do work, but we have to show up and treat them as very, very important meetings. So don't just look at a virtual meeting as a form of adaptation. Look at them as a part of the future. Like I said earlier, they're here to stay, and some people may prefer them. Some people may feel more comfortable in a virtual environment, and that is okay. And other people may prefer to meet in person, and that's okay too. But we have to be prepared, and we have to be strong and competent and energized and fully knowledgeable, whether it's in person or virtual. So today I wanted to show you and talk to you about how to show up. And I want to share this with you. The most important thing is fall in love with what you do and let everybody know about it. And if you're not somebody that's in love with what you do, I know this is about virtual meetings, but don't be afraid to make a change. But when you're passionate and you're excited, everybody on the other side of that screen is going to feel it. And that's what we want. So that's today's presentation. If you guys ever need anything, Dana@DanaCavalea.com. I send out a daily blog every morning. I know many of you are on it. So head on over there. And I'm going to edit this and I'm going to send you a copy of this presentation. Okay? So let's see any questions that we have, and feel free to write in the chat, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay? So I'm going to go all the way to the top. John Duffin, thanks for coming on. Sherry Griffin, my all-star. We have Bill Gentry. Thank you. Question, are you using a Shure mic? Yes, I'm using a Shure mic today, John. Yes, I am. Zoom fatigue. Sherry brought up Zoom fatigue. Some advice, back up the camera for full body. I don't think you have to back it up for full body. I just think that we have to make sure that our heads aren't in the screen and we're not going towards the camera. The other thing, again, like I said, as it relates to Zoom fatigue, is make sure that you're shutting off your camera for those meetings that you don't have to have it on. Again, ask if that's okay. And make sure that you're giving yourself those 15 minutes between your meetings. It's very, very important. Okay? Say less, create more impact. Yes, John Duffin. And let's see what else. Okay, regarding lighting, the light is 4 feet away to offset. I keep the light right in front of me. So I have one light that's right in front of me, and I can adjust how bright it is. So if I made it brighter, you'd see my forehead lit up. So when I do my show, the Becoming a Champion show, which is on YouTube, I make it a little bit lighter for my intros because I want it to pop for visual effects. But in a meeting, I don't want shine on my face, okay? So looks like those are all the questions. If anybody has anything else, feel free to put it in the chat, and I'm happy to answer it. Comments. Twice I've been speaking, Bill, the news media from my office, and comments have been made by the interviewer about the sports items displayed in my office. I think, again, I'm speaking more about presenting. Like if we have a topic that we're presenting, I wouldn't put too many things to where people are trying to figure out what is that? What is that? So whatever you put behind you, it's okay to have a couple strategic items behind you where, our friend Gene Watson, he keeps his World Series trophy behind him. that is a great thing to have behind you because it keeps people excited. It keeps them piqued. But if you have a lot of tchotchkes on the wall and a lot of different things on the wall, people are trying to figure out what that is. And we don't want them to be looking around us. We want them to be centered here. So even if you're going to have stuff around you, keep it as close to you as possible and not spread out. So these are just tools, again, to keep the focus on the main focus, which is you, the presenter or salesperson, and the message, right? The message has to be the star of the show, even more so than you, the presenter, but you're the deliverer. You know, you're the person that's delivering the message, okay? So Patrick, thank you for coming on. Erica, thank you. Becca, thanks so much. In terms of background, so people say, hey, coach, what kind of background is that? This is actually a fabric tapestry that I use. There's people too that they put wood on their wall behind them. They find things that could either be a bit more permanent or just, again, they're basic. We want basic behind us. Maybe, again, one or two items that are strategic. But other than that, let's not go crazy with too much behind us. Some people, if you have a nice, like a piece of art that you're into that again, fits, you know, where you are, that works too. So, all right. Anything else? All right, cool. Everybody, thanks so much. And like I said, I'm going to edit this. I'm going to send it to you. I'll give you a link and feel free to share it with everybody. But thank you so much for coming on and taking time. I'm 8 minutes over, finished at about 12:33, 5 minutes of mini Q&A. But thanks again. And like I said, keep your eyes out for an email in the next 24 hours with a link from today's presentation so you can go through some of those slides and update some of your equipment. Again, don't go crazy, but take time to invest a few $100 if you haven't yet into making your setup professional, and it'll help you stand out. Don't forget, everybody's, for the most part, presenting like this. So how do you stand out, right? We want to stand out. And when we stand out and our message stands out, we have a great chance of winning. So again, thanks so much, Coach Dana Cavalea, and I will see everybody later. Thanks again, and have a great day. It's 12:39. There's plenty of time to win today. So go out there and do it. See ya.